I was reading a really good book by Charles Duhigg, and it's The Power of Habits. Wow. I mean, if you want to go in depth, that's the book to read. But what I learned was what's happening in our brain when a habit is activated. So it's a circle. It's a movement that's happening, right? The habit is in the center, but you have two things on both sides. You have a trigger that's going to activate the habit, and you have a reward that you're looking for.
It's going to reinforce the habit.
Yeah, if I don't get the reward, I'm continuing through the habit cycle till I get the reward.
Yeah.
Okay? So here's the deal. The trigger and the reward are never going to go away, ever. There's always going to be something that's going to trigger me to go into my habit, like dinner, non-sweet. But there's always a trigger and there's always a reward that I'm seeking. And what's interesting is, like, during the day after my lunch, I mean, I might have a salad, and then I start going through the cupboards because I'm like, I want something just a little to finalize it, like just kind of seals the meal. So my habit might be M&Ms, it might be ice cream, but now what I'm doing is I'm changing the habit. That trigger is still going to happen. The reward is still wanted. It's my habit that has to change. So now I'm buying some dark chocolate covered pomegranates or dark chocolate blueberry, right? So okay, it's sweet, but it's on the healthier side of sweet with a little fruit in it too. I can justify anything when it comes to sweet. But the whole point here is your trigger will always happen. There's always something that will turn on that desire to kick in the habit.
Could a trigger be a craving? Help me understand what the trigger is so that I know now, okay, this is my habit.
So actually, the book really does a good job at helping you dissect truly what your trigger is. I think I know what the trigger is.
Okay.
Anytime I eat anything non-sweet. But I played investigator with myself. I created a beautiful spreadsheet and I started documenting what really is happening just anytime I eat anything. And all it was a factual documentation. I was documenting who I was with when I had meals, what I had, what I wanted, just every possible scenario, not just food related, but my surroundings as well. And what I found out was my true trigger. It had nothing to do with just eating anything. There were two things in play when I would have chocolate or ice cream or sweets.
This is interesting. What is it?
Number one, I would definitely indulge when I'm alone. And number two, I'd indulge when I'm bored. The true art here is you have to figure out what your trigger is. Because if you think it's the wrong trigger, you're not going to fix it with a new habit.
Right.
Because that original trigger is still going to kick in at some point. Sorry, the reward also doesn't go away. So for me to be like, oh, I'll just, go do something else, there's something in my brain that's like, let's finalize the meal here. Let's seal it with a little sweet. So that's why I said the trigger and the reward don't go away. It's the habits that you have to change. But you can create new triggers that help maybe bypass the original trigger, but help adapt to it so that the habit then connects. So my encouragement to you all is, first of all, hey, now we know how the brain is working. We know what's happening. We know it's our habits we need to adjust. Start with tiny habits. Create a new tiny habit and do it for the next 3 months. Then that decision is in place and now it's a habit, and now I can make a new decision and add to the habit.